Imagine pulling in 144-pound paddlefish. It's about 4.5 feet long, so that'd be like grabbing your 8th grade middle school brother and trying to pull him in off the side of a boat. Well, that's the size of the biggest paddlefish caught in Kansas. So the biggest fish caught in Kansas up to date was 144-pound paddlefish. Today we're going to talk about the different types of fishing in Kansas, specifically reels, your line fishing, and your paddlefish. So, not to get into too depth in those. I've been fishing my entire life. I learned everything from my dad. He learned it from his grandpa, so I have 80 years of experience fishing, even though I'm only 20-something. Yeah, we'll talk about pole fishing, line fishing, and then your noodling. There's 4 specific types of pole fishing. Your 4 specific types of pole fishing are closed reel, open reel, bait casting, and your fly fishing. And closed reel is like your Zebcos, or the little ones you get when you're a kid that have Spider-Man on the pole and stuff. They're the easiest to learn and the cheapest. There are expensive ones, but it's the easiest. That's where everybody starts. And then you have your open reel, which has got a turn there on it. And it's open reels, you can cast farther and you can fill your tugs better and things like that. So it's a little harder to use. It's intermediate to experience. That's what I personally use because I'm not as advanced. And then bait casting, which is a reel that works on a system of brakes and the tension on your line to cast, and that's for super experienced people, at least in my opinion. Some people might be really good with it. I can't cast with one. And those are by far the most expensive. You have to get a pretty expensive one to do any good with it. And fly fishing is the last one there. It's not super common in Kansas. It's when you tie a fly to the end of a line and you cast it on top of the water. It doesn't happen a whole lot in Kansas. It does because it's for trout, but not as much. Those all came off TakeMeToFish.org, an article in there. And then this is the second largest catfish caught in Kansas. It's a husband and wife team. It's an 82-pound blue cat. And her husband actually caught the first largest blue cat in Kansas, but he was asleep when he did it, so I refused to count it. All right, the next type is line fishing, which is your trot lines, your bank lines, and your limb lines and stuff like that. Trot line is a long, anywhere you can have them any length, it doesn't matter, 25 to 200 feet. It's just braided line with a whole bunch of smaller hooks on it that you drape off of it, and what you do is you tie it from either, if it's a bank line, you put it in the bank and then you weight it into the river or lake or pond or whatever. And then you just leave all the hooks there, and it's that's my favorite way to fish because you can bait everything and then go drink beer and then come back later. You don't have to worry about it too much, so it's pretty easy. And then, yeah, so that's how that works. That's really common in Kansas. I don't know if you guys ever do that much, but you set those up, and it's a pretty big deal for small town rivers. And these are the fish that I caught on the trot line in the Nenaskaw. It's a really big paddle, I promise, or a really big net. These are huge fish. And the last one of the more common types of fishing in Kansas is noodling. And that's when you get in any depth of water, really, and you find nests, and instead of using hooks or bait, you use your fingers for the bait. And you make the catfish bite you, and then you hook it through the gill. And it's probably the most exciting way to fish, in my opinion, but it's also the most dangerous. It can get kind of intense. I'll show you a picture of that. Because sometimes, the really big people use their legs. It's crazy. But yeah, so that's the least common, probably. It just now became legal in Kansas again. 2 or 3 years ago, it became back to being legal. It's been illegal for a while. And these are 2 guys. This was in Oklahoma. They won the nationals for noodling, believe it or not. There's a national championship for noodling. It was in Oklahoma, but they're from Kansas, and they can't tell you where the lake is, so it's probably Kansas, but you're not allowed to know. I don't know. It's a secret. So we talked about pole fishing, your line fishing, and your noodling, and hope you guys learned a little bit about fishing.